hopefully everything will work. Everybody, weather is cooling down now. It's so nice, no humidity. I'm going to give you just a little bit of background on myself so you know who and where I come from and how I got to this point. I've from the MLS world, the multiple listing world. Started a long time ago, 1995, 96, in the MLS world for MRIS, which is Metropolitan Regional Information Systems. It's a regional one out in the Washington, D.C. area. It actually covered parts of 5 states. So it was considered, at one time it was the largest. It's not the largest anymore. I want to say it's like second or third, although they just merged with Trend, so they could become the largest again. So we'll see what happens. But I was there as in what we call an industry relations representative there. My boss there moved to Arizona, and he said, will you do what you do for MRIS for the last 13 years? Out here, they don't have this. It works really, really well. Didn't have any connections. I said, yeah, sure, I'll come. I'm born and raised in the Washington, D.C. area. I thought, yeah, why not? It's time to spread my wings and see other parts of the country. So I went out there and worked for Armless, which is Arizona Regional MLS, another regional MLS, worked with that. And during that period of time is when RPR came into fruition. And Armless was one of the beta testers for RPR, which was in 2008. Then 2010, it was actually released. They were one of the first MLSs to integrate the information. And of course, it's gone on from there. There was like 3, and now I have a slide, 600 and some different MLSs that are using or adjusting and merging their information with us so that you have all of that there. So that's kind of a little bit of my background. I came to RPR. My boss that went out to Arizona, he's my boss of all time. He left me, and I was just like, you can't leave me here. You can't. No, this is not right. And he went to Seattle. So, and I to another company that I said, not following you there, sorry. But I RPR, so I actually contacted RPR, and I said, I love your product. You have to hire me. I must have done a good job because here I am today. So now I work at the National Association of Realtors in your RPR division. So that gives you a little bit about me. Oh, and that boss that I work with, he now works for us also. So he's back, but he still lives in Seattle. We all e-commute, so to speak. I'm going to talk to you today, kind of give you an overview of RPR, give you some information. How many of you don't know anything about RPR? Let's say we have a few. How many of you are using RPR to its fullest? Yes. Again, and it's, of course, that's a definition that it could be, okay, what is its fullest? There's a lot there. I'm going to show you some things. I'm going to show you where you can get more training all the time. So you're going to be able to you're going to get an idea of what's available to you. It is in PowerPoint form. I might go to the internet if I can. It's kind of iffy in here at a couple points in time that we'll see, but mostly it is in a PowerPoint. So, oh, here we go. See, he went away, and now this doesn't work. Jonathan, it's not working. We may just have to do this. Okay. So, why is it doing that? I'm good now. Okay. So what is RPR? This is my first one. Do you want to start this little video? We're going to listen to a little video about a couple minutes. The absolute best for your clients and customers. And after all, buying or selling your property is one of the biggest decisions they'll make. But how can you provide them with the best information to make that decision? Typically, you could go to one place to get a property, to another place to search for local schools, and to another for local demographics. And for even deeper dive, you could venture through several more places to learn property history, what people are saying about the neighborhood, mortgage information, and so on. We understand you need to accurately assess what's best for your clients and customers. But the truth is, your time and money is being wasted tracking down all these facts from so many different places. That's where Realtors Property Resource comes in. RPR is the National Association of Realtors exclusive nationwide property database for realtors. With access to over 160 million properties, RPR gives you access to the most comprehensive report that is sure to inform and
client. No matter what your specialty is, RPR has partnered with hundreds of sources, including MLSs and CIDs across the country, to provide you with the most current, accurate, and valuable information in one centralized place. You will discover everything from school reports to census, demographics, tax data, foreclosures, mortgage information, mapping, distress data, flood zones, storage data, and so much more. That is, your clients' customers come to you every single question, you'll have every single answer. And because RPR is included in your NAR member dues, there is no additional cost. RPR, bringing realtors to the next level.
Awesome. So this is owned by you. If you're a realtor, you have access to this. That slide should be updated, excuse me, to 166 million parcel property. In other words, you can search for all parcel property, all public records, all the way across the United States. So if you have a client coming from someone else, you'd actually be able to search that particular property and get information on it. Sometimes mortgage information, but tax information, any public record information that's there in that particular area, you would be able to do that. So you could actually research that client, which is really, really important. You know, knowing who you're talking to, you can, you know, if they have a property right then, you can look it up. Is it distressed? We'll be able to tell you, is it distressed? Where are they on their mortgage? Was it refinanced? You can get a lot of that information here. I like to call it one-stop shopping. This is for you. The whole idea is to bring the realtor brand back, and this is only for you. It does, your clients can't go there. It's a research tool. It's a listing presentation tool. It's a refining the value of a home tool. Lots of tools, and I like to say getting school information all in one place. One-stop shopping. It's exclusively for you. We're constantly updating it, giving you new things. Recently, just add rentals, which has been something that people have wanted for a very long time. So you now can look up rentals. Or if there's a house that's for sale and it's also for rent, you're going to get two things on there. It's going to say for sale, and then there's going to be a little purple thing next to it saying that it's also for lease. So you get all of that information right there, and you can see all the information on both. That's something that we've just added, which is great. We're constantly adding things. We do an update every month. We call them sprints. So sometimes they're bugs. We do, I think, 10. We do 10 updates a year. Well, we do 11, but one of them we call it like a technopalooza. It's just like all of it has to do with a bugapalooza. It has to do with bugs that need more time to develop. So we're constantly working with those bugs, but there's some that it's a little bit more, and it goes into something else, and we'll actually clean all those up. And that's in January that we actually do that. No additional charge, no consumer public access. Again, I want to tell you there's no additional charge. There's no upcharge. Everything here is free or inclusive in your dues. It's on all levels. It's on your iPhone, or actually I should say on your smartphone, on your tablet, and desktop. You have all three. You probably use those interchangeably. How many people have actually used the desktop? Okay. How many people use the mobile? Okay, it actually is a little bit different. How many use both? Interesting. Okay. A lot of people I find have started using the mobile when we came out, because that's actually the one that's taken us over the top as far as usage here. But it's available to you, or you go to your app stores to actually get that. This is our platform. We have 166 million parcels, 812 million photos, 130 million tax records, 162 million deeds, 132 million mortgages, 17 million default records, and 8.2 billion valuations. And we're going to talk a little bit about what a valuation is. Like I said before, when in 2010, there was, I think there was 4 MLSs that are there. This is what it looks like today. So we're integrated with 658 different partnered MLSs, which covers, we're almost to 1.1, I think there's 1.2 million realtors in NAR that actually can use this product. So we're real proud of that. Okay, this is where we get information overload. This is everything that you have available to you. You have features, tools, and data sets. You have market activity and trending maps. How many of you know what a heat map is? Okay, they're great. It's a visual. It tells you a certain thing. There's like 9, 10, 11 different heat maps that we have, and it's going to tell you, okay, in this particular area, this house that's sitting here, what's the flood zone? And it'll show, how is it level? Is it in a flood zone? Or what is the estimated value in this area? Is it going up? Is it going down? How's the sales price compared to the listing price? Is it selling at the same listing? How's that going? So it gives you this visual that you can actually show your clients. Charts and graphs, CMA tools, that's one of our wow factors. Our big 2 wows that we get from agents are our CMAs and our mobile. Those are way up there. I was at the Florida conference at our booth, and this man comes up and he goes, "Can you take the booth away?" And I'm like, "What do you mean take the booth away?" And he goes, "I don't want anybody else to know about this." He said, they were listing agents. He said, ever since and it was a team, and we have this big team, and he said, ever since we started using RPR, we used to be 55, 60, maybe 65%, we'd always get the listing. We are now 95% get our listing with our CMA. So it's a great tool. We even have some companies out there, a couple companies out there that actually use they call it the CMA of choice for their agents. So they actually train their agents on using our CMA. So it's a great tool. We'll look a little bit about that. Demographics, psychographics, mortgage information, FEMA flood blocks, neighborhood analytics. And when you think about the neighborhood, there's going to be neighborhood reports. That's a generalization of what's in that area. It's not something that's going to take you straight down into a subdivision because you need data to be able to do that. There's census data. There's a lot of data that's used in order to be able to get those numbers. It's more of a broader, general, summarized of what the area is. So you want to think about that. Historical comparison listings, you can actually compare sales comparison, return of value calculator, valuation workbook, street views, aerial views. You can actually now get it. We don't have all street views. It just depends on the mapping. We work with Maponics and Google. So what the street view is actually when you pull the house up, and then and you pull up street view, it actually lets you go down the street. It's actually kind of cool. So you can see the other houses and what it looks like around there. Property searching, public records, tax assessments, realtor value model. We're going to talk about that. RVMs. How many of you know what an AVM is? Ooh, nobody. An AVM is automated. Oh, did I see one hand back there? Okay, very good. And who uses an AVM? Zillow, exactly. So that value that they put on a home, that's what an AVM is Zillow. We have something that's called an RVM. We're going to talk about that, which actually is a great tool that you can use. School information, school reports with parents reviews, mapping tools, points of interest, plat maps, walkability scores, phone, both the mobile and now. Anyone do commercial work or resi commercial? Okay, we have what we call resi commercial. There's actually some commercial information that's awesome that you could use as agents. And it's now also on, that just came on the mobile app. So you can go back and forth between both of those if you work with that. So here's your AVM and RVM. An AVM uses, the commercial AVMs use information from lenders and investors. The consumer AVMs, or your residential, it's convenient, it's anonymous, it uses basic public record information to be able to put a value on that home. And they all use different algorithms to do that. So they're not going to be the same. If you looked at Zillow or Truly or Realtor.com, they all have them. You'll see them on broker websites also. And they're usually somewhere between 50 and 65% accuracy. Now, when you think about this as putting a value on a home from looking at data that's apples to apples, oranges to oranges, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, living square, it's looking literally at that. It has no idea that it sits on a lake. It has no idea that it's beachfront. It doesn't know all of that. That's where you come in. But it gives you a starting point. The idea is to say the value of this home, as all the other ones that are sitting around here, is somewhere around here. So we have what's called an RVM because we have your MLS information. We can overlay that. So we get listing information in there. So it becomes more valuable. Ours is anywhere from 80 to 85% accuracy. Again, you've got that area that's not 15%. Why? Because you have to go in there and add your expertise because you know what those homes look like. You know what the area is. You know where it's sitting, or at least you should when you're working with them, when you do your research. So that's actually available to you. These are the top 10 ways that agents are using RPR. And like I said, the mobile app and the comp analysis are the two top. The other one is mapping tools, because with our mapping tools, we have heat maps. You can search by drive time. You can search by distance. You can search by do polygons. You can do boxes. You can do you can draw the area that you actually want in the mobiles. So you have a lot that you can actually do with the mapping and the mapping tools that we have there. Our reports, that's the other thing that's crazy. Like I said, the CMA, the seller's report, that's the biggest, but we have market activity reports, neighborhood reports, school reports. All of those reports are there available for you to work with your clients. And as I talk today, I'm going to give you some ideas how other agents are using them. I can sit up here and say, you have these, but how am I using this? How do I put this in my practice? You're not going to use everything. You're going to start with one thing and do that, and then build from there on what your business is, because each one of you have a different business. So not all of it works for everybody, so you have to choose. Search distressed properties. We have the largest database of distressed properties. At one point in time, that was really valuable because there were so many, but they're still out there. So you can actually search just distressed properties, and we'll be able to give you that and show you why they're distressed. Determine a seller's motivation. We have charts and graphs so that, and mortgage information, so you can actually determine in this historical area on the site where, you know, what's the seller's motivation? Are they in a hurry to sell? For instance, when I first bought here, in the first home that I bought, I've moved 4 times in 3 years, so it's kind of crazy, but I think I'm now in this place, which I moved into April to stay, because I'm actually putting up my own pictures. I'm like, okay, if I'm putting the pictures up, this means I think I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. I don't have any questions. So I actually putting pictures up. But when I bought the first place, it was listed very high. So we wanted to figure out what was the seller's motivation. So we went into RPR, we looked in the historical area. Well, we saw she bought high. Everything was high. She had $30,000 worth of, we found out that she had all these renovations, and we're talking high-end renovations. So she was, the highest comp was 220. She was at 250. Nothing was equal to hers in looks in that area, but it still was 220 to 250. Yes, things were starting to go up, but she bought high. And so basically, what's her motivation? She wants to get as much money as she can because she's put a lot into it, and she bought high, and she had already bought another place. So that will actually give you, know, what was her mortgage? How many was it? Is it distressed? It gives you all of that information in that historical and sales and financing area to let you know. It also will tell you what's happening with that particular area. What's the trend over there? So that gives you all that seller's motivation. It helps you determine that. And the same thing when you're with somebody, if someone's coming from out of town. I mean, this is mobile around here. Everybody's coming from someplace else. Nobody's from here. Not very many people are from here. So you can see what is their motivation, or what information is there that I need to know when they're moving. So if they have a house someplace else, you can at least look up the public record. You can look at the map because they have aerials and satellite images. It's like, what does it look like? How's that going to compare to here? And in their mind, what are they buying? So it gives you all that availability to do that. Value home improvements, we have a whole area that's called refined value. It'll actually value your home improvement down to the zip code of where you are. So if there was a 10,000 mid-range bathroom that was remodeled in 2015 on a particular date, it's going to tell you, okay, they spent 10,000. What's the value of that now? Because don't you always, that was the problem with this person. She's at 220. She just did that $30,000. She added $30,000 to 220, expecting she's going to get all this back. That's not the case. So I actually used, because my realtor at the time did not know about RPR. So we did all of those things to find out what really is the value. What value can we tack on this with these great renovations she did? And it worked out really, really well. My realtor was so funny. She goes, what is this? And I said, you get to use this. We're having after you sell this, and then I'm coming to you and we're having a training class. So it was great, but it allows you to do that. And then of course we have the commercial application. There is some information in there. We launched mobile in 2014. What's great about the mobile is all that information I'm talking about, almost all of that is at your fingertips. You're driving around with a client and they want to know, well, what are the schools in the area? You can look it up. What are the taxes? You can look it up. You don't have to go back to the office. You're there. Oh, look, that house is for sale. Can we go see it? You can look up, call the agent, see if you can get a listing point, and do it right there. So it's a great, fast, convenient changes. And then in the tablets we released in 2015, and it's a tablet version. A lot of agents have actually used the full version on the tablet because you can do that also, but this is actually set up to actually work on a tablet because it's all configured differently, just like the phone is configured a little different than the tablet, and both of them are configured than a desktop. Your desktop has everything in it. So this is where you would get the app, again, 100% owned. All the information that's in the app is also in the desktop, and they sync. So anytime you're working on the desktop and you do something, guess what? If you save something on the desktop, it's now saved in your phone or your tablet. If you do something on the phone and you save it, or you create a search and save a search, it's on the desktop. So it's constant and it's immediate. It's not one of these things that think, once a day or every day. It's literally immediate. It's a great tool to use in a lot of different ways. So, and that's where you go for the Apple. You go to the Apple App Store, and for Google, you go to Google Play. These are the wow uses, and this is kind of what I'm, for the sake of time, going to kind of go into through PowerPoint. But these are the wow uses that are actually agents and stories that I actually have. You have your listing presentation. Your listing presentation, your CMA, you're pretty much only going to do on the desktop. The capabilities on the phone, you can do one, but you can't customize it. If you're going to customize and get it exactly how you want it, you're going to do that on the desktop, and we'll look at that. Open house. Open house, you're going to do the desktop or mobile. I'm going to give you a couple stories about that, because you might start out getting information to take to your open house, but the mobile is huge when you're sitting in an open house and you're suddenly asked a lot of questions about the neighborhood. Working with buyers, again, desktop and mobile, you might do some preliminary work on the desktop, but then again, when you're out and about, those questions come up. You drive by those FSBOs, and they're like, okay, I want to see that. You're like, oh, no, don't make me do that. So it gives you a lot of information there to get rid of that. And I'm going to give you a little couple stories about that one too. And then you're prospecting. There was a gentleman that when I was at Armless, this is kind of funny. This is in Phoenix, Arizona area. And I was home, and I get a knock on the door, and it's a realtor. And he says, I have a report of the neighborhood here, which was a market activity report. And he goes, would you like to have this? And he hands it to me. And he says, and would you like to get this on a monthly basis or quarterly? Because things seem to the prices were going up and things were starting to sell. And he says, and I work this neighborhood a lot, so I'm just trying to meet people and let them know I can give them information. Well, I look at it, and of course I work for Armless, and I know about RPR because I talk about it all the time. Well, it's an RPR report. And I'm like, oh, RPR report. And he kind of deadpan, right? He's like, okay, yeah, how did you know that? And I said, well, I work for Armless. And he goes, oh. And I said, but what I want to know is, how is that working for you? How is doing this door-to-door working for you? And he goes, I can't tell you. Now, you're only going to do that in certain areas. This is a huge residential area and a lot of homes. So you're going to get that works in something like that, and things were starting to sell, and he was making his niche there to do this particular subdivision, so to speak, in that particular community development, or however you want to call those. So he says it's working. He says, I can't tell you how many people that I now send this to on whatever they want, monthly, quarterly, yearly, every 6 months, because it actually tells them what the neighborhood is doing. It keeps them, and they'll call me because it has my information on it, and they'll call me and say, okay, I think I need some more information here, and it works. So lots of different ways you can use in that. So first we're going to talk about a listing presentation. What do you guys do when you do a listing presentation? What are some of the preliminary things that you think? And I've actually given you hints on this already. What kind of yeah, go ahead.
I do something the CMA from RPR. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if the listing presentation is something I'm not aware of.
No, that's part of doing the CMA.
Okay. I use something called Current Matters.
$1 a month for it, and that's me posting on social media, but they also give really good charts and graphs. They're big advocates of trying to stand out from other agents.
Okay.
Where you don't just go in and hammer sales-wise. And it's really great charts showing, the first starts out simple, showing a bar chart of a buyer market, a neutral market, seller market. And it goes through about 10 slides right on my iPad.
Okay. So he's getting charts and graphs and trending of what's going on there through this other program, which we also have this in RPR too that you can do. And I don't know whether you know that or not, but there's lots of charts and graphs, and you can actually get some commercial ones that's really good in that particular area. But so what he's doing, he's researching. He's gotten this, and he's educating his hope-to-be client when you actually go in on what is happening. That's one of the things. I'm just going to jump in here. So when you do a listing presentation, the first thing, this is what the desktop looks like. So you go in there and you put the address in. These are some of the things that you actually want to do once you're there. So you're going to use an AVM, or could use an AVM, RVM in a pricing discussion. You dig deeper into the property history, and that's a little bit about what's happening when you get the charts and trends. Historical comparisons, heat maps. The heat maps are going to show you what's trending there. So those are another thing. We have historical records. We have a whole tab on historical records. It gives you sales and financing, gives you prior sales transactions, mortgage records, distressed information. You're going to do that before you actually go in to know about what this client is already going with, so that when you go in, do they always tell you everything? No. And this is all in one place. You don't have to go one place to another. Your charts and graphs here, this is kind of what you thought. What are the median area list prices? What's the current area living area? How many are there more children? What age group is in here? It gives you all of that, so you have an idea when you're going in there what you're working with. You can find the value. So if you know ahead of time if they've actually had some improvements, you can use the refined value in the home improvement tool to see, okay, what do they think this is? So you can use that in pricing discussions to determine the market conditions of the home. Then you have what we call the comp analysis, which is 5 steps, which you have all of this in the back of your mind, and you're going to put that all on paper to get a seller's report. So here we are back here, and while I'm here, I'm going to point out, here you have all properties. So you have different ways. Actually, you have a new thing up here. This is because it just happened. There's one more button up here. It's called rentals. So you can search rentals now too. So all properties, which is everything. If you don't narrow anything down, you could have 62,000 properties in there, because it's everything. It's public records. It's recently sold. It's for sale. It's rentals. And if you leave everything checked off, it's homes. It's condos. It's a lot. So you would have to narrow that down. You have your for sale. You have your neighborhood report. Again, that summarizes information, gives you a report on neighborhoods. Your schools, if you have a school report, that's available to you, that tells you grades of school through great schools, gives you some information, reviews by parents and teachers. So you have lots of that. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back here. And market activity and my listing. Market activity is like hot sheet telling you what's going on in that particular area that you can run at any point in time. So you're actually going to do this listing presentation. So you're going to go into all properties. And actually, while I'm here, actually I have a pointer. See that little thing right there? Looks like a phone, right? That's because, and this is a PowerPoint, so it's looking at, but if that looked like a computer, what this is saying is, I looked at this house in Scottsdale on my iPhone or on my phone. I have an iPhone, that's why I said iPhone. It can be on a Android also. But if it's a computer saying, I looked on the computer, it's going to be on both, on your phone. It's always going to tell you where it is. So you're going to add the address, and then it's going to bring up the property. This property here is giving you some information right then and there. Remember we talked about the AVM, and don't look at this. Just look at this, pretend that's not there, because that's actually refined from the comp analysis. Here, on this particular one, the RVM, it's off market. The RVM is 302. We ended up refining to 330. I did this with an agent on one of his. And Here gives you some basic facts. And this RVM again, if you want to know what these details are, you can click on that. But it gives you a range. So this is in the middle. So this is the range. And this is our confidence level. And what we mean by confidence level is that's us. We're saying we feel confident that this is a good value of a home using data and nothing else. Remember, that's just data, apples to apples, oranges to oranges. That's how we feel, and listing information to other listing information and historical information that we have. So we are not totally and utterly confident because it only has 4 stars. And then it gives you the change. RVM in the last month went down, but in the year it's gone up. So it's going to give you some general information. Over here is your maps, which you can make bigger. And there's a little legend here telling you information. And if I were to scroll down, then it summarizes mortgage information, tax information, gives you a little bit more information if I were to go down. Now I'm going to talk about this refined value right here. If you want to know how did we determine this, you click on View Details. And it's going to pop up and tell you what ones we used. So you know ahead of time, are these ones that I want to use? Because I know this area. Is this something that I actually want to use? So it's going to give you a list of everything that we use to create that RVM. And when you're actually doing a comp analysis, we then start with a blue star. So you know which ones were actually used to create that. And you make the determination later on, is that a good one or is it not a good one? So we're going to actually tell you that. Then the next thing that you can look over here is you can make that map bigger. So you can look at the bigger map. What's this? And when I was working with this agent, this was an agent in Sarasota, Manatee. On District 13, we did a little dog and pony show. And he was a brand new agent and had an aha moment with RPR. But this was one of the things that he liked, was that you can change this map information to look and see, this is road. What does it look like on the aerial? And you're going to have, there is a legend, but this is, your subject property is always gold. So that's your subject property. This is a distressed property. Green is recently sold. All these other ones, gray, they're public records. If it was blue, it would be for sale. And if it was purple, it's a rental. I have to say purple now because we just added those. And I have to remember, oh yeah, there's purple ones on there now. So he wanted to see, when he was talking to his client, he wanted to look at what was around here because you're going to research it all. So he actually went to the aerial map, and here's the subject property. And when they were going on the listing property, this is it. This isn't a very popular area down there. It wasn't in this golf course area. It was on the other side. But his property here, and you can't really see it here, but you can actually see through these trees, whereas none of the others could. So it actually had a better view. So his whole idea is when he went in, he knew this one had a better view when he was going to go on the listing presentation. So that, and when he starts making his comparisons on, can we up the price on this a little bit or not? So just different ways that you can actually do that. Then you have across the top here, before I go over here, so that's your summary. And like I said, if I was live, I could scroll down there and you're going to see summarized of a lot of things about this home, charts and graphs. Then we also have a history, we have charts, we have refined value, we have the comp analysis, and this just allows you to do a neighborhood report and look at that at any point in time. So if you go to the history, now we're still researching, and it's going to give you, the first thing there is going to give you sales and financing. So you're going to actually be able to see what happens. Here's your chart. This is for sale. There hasn't been any other ones. This is your RVM, so the current one. If this was live, I could click on that anywhere I wanted to, and it would tell me the date and what the particular value of the home was at that time. So you see a little trending there. Your tax assessment. If it was distressed, this red line, you'd see a big red line here, and you'd click on it, it would give you information, and then more information as you scroll down. So that's a quick chart. To the right, you actually have charts. But as you scroll down, you're going to get prior sales transactions. We'll give you both public and MLS records there. You can tag both between them. You scroll down further, you're going to get your tax assessments, and you have previous and next. You're going to get mortgage records. If there's more than one, then again, it'll be a scrolling type of thing back and forth. And if, actually, let's go back here. And if there was distressed properties, you can see it. It's not, it says distressed info down here, but you can't really see that. There isn't any, but if there was, then it would give you the distressed information. You know, is it an auction, and give you all that information that's there. So now you have the history of what's happened in this home. So when you walk in there, you have an idea. You don't have to ask them, you know ahead of time. The next thing, I'm going to skip refined value, and we're going to talk about the comp analysis now that you have everything there. In this particular instance, he didn't refine the value of this. There wasn't anything, there wasn't any refinement to do as far as renovations and things like that. So this is our widget. You have the availability to do this. Here, you have you have a comparative analysis, which is built on an estimate based on comps. And then you have a sales comparison analysis. It's a workflow for appraisers. That was created by appraisers. So if you want to do what I call a CMA on steroids, that would be the one that you would do, because you can do the weighting, you can add things, but you really, it's what an appraiser would use. So you need to feel comfortable being able to add all of that information in there or take it away, however, when you do those. But there are lots of agents that have actually studied that. Some of you are appraisers, so you can do that. We're just going to go over the regular comp analysis, and the very first thing you do is you confirm your facts. And it's going to bring up here information, because if, for instance, the home that I bought, the first home I bought down here, in the public records, it says it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath townhome. Well, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath townhome, was built as a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It was not recreated, but it says 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. So you could actually change this information, and it could adjust the price, because of bedrooms and baths makes a big difference when you're actually looking at things. So this is refining. This is putting in your information right here. Now, when you put information, only you see it. Nobody else sees it. This is just for you. Then you can confirm your facts, and you're going to go back here. Then you're going to find your comps. And you'll pull your property types, your property statuses, was it recently sold, your details. You're going to put all of those. Your property is actually up here. If you want to add your own property that you know is a great comp, you could put the MLS number or the address up there, and that would actually pull that in as one of the comps. So what you're doing here is determining what comps you want to use when you do your CMA. You could also go over here and use the maps to actually narrow that down. But we have some information in there, and we're not going to do the map yet. So you find the comps. It's going to plot them on the map. And as you can see here, here's the blue ones, here's recently sold, here's gold, that's you. That's the home that you're doing. You've got some distressed, but you have a bunch that's over here, and you're thinking, I really don't want any of those over there. So you can actually go up here and modify this, draw a map, and say, I want to search just in this area. Here's a little tip. When you're searching, when you're zoomed out, so it's going to plot less than actually when you zoom in. So I could get more, because this is a wider area. I could get more in there because it's going to zoom it in and take it closer because of just the amount that's actually showing. So kind of keep that in mind. But you could actually search this area, you can edit this area, and you can save it. So you can use this. So we actually searched it, and it plotted those there. And it's going to list them here. It's going to put them on the map, and then they're going to put them up here. So you have a list below, and then you have your map with all of them there. When you click on one of these, it's going to give you an idea, a little snapshot of what that particular one. And if you say, oh, I know this house, this is a good one, I want to use this one, right here is a button that says use this as a comp. And you click on that, and it's going to put it over here, which is where your comps are. So you are actually choosing what you want to use. Here also, in this list, maybe you want to choose from down here as opposed on the map. Here is actually going to give you information. If you're looking at the map and you want to see more details on that, you're going to click here. So that's that blue star. That means in that RVM, it was used in the RVM. So you can decide, yeah, that probably is a good one. Let's put it over there because it looks pretty accurate. I like what they did. So you choose the ones that you actually want. They all go over here. You get a list. Then up at the top here, it says update your valuation. So now it's updated everything, but you're not done because you want to adjust the comps. These are just finding them, and we're doing the calculations and using our algorithms. Now you want to adjust it to what you want it to be. So you're going to click on, and which is for those of you in the back, it's way down here, adjust comps, and we're going to give you a list. We're going to put them side by side, and you're going to be able to use a slider and adjust it, say, oh, this house is a little bit better. This one has a pool, so I'm going to go here. This one doesn't have a view. You can do you can adjust all of this here. Whoops, I don't want to go there yet. You can also put them in order. So if this is a better comp and you really want this one to be first, then you're going to go over here and change the order. Or maybe you decide after you're comparing it here, I don't like this one. You can just remove it, get rid of it. The other thing you can actually do is there'll be multiple things. You can actually compare it if there's a public record. You can say, this is the listing record. Is there any other records, previous records there? And you can actually compare it to those records also. So you can see some differences. So you have a lot of research here. You go through here. Then at the bottom, at any point in time, you can, another one thing. We have added one other thing here. Now there's an other. So that's just a brand new line that you put in there. So if you know something that's missing, you can add that in there yourself. And then you have notes. So maybe you want to say, the reason I chose this particular comp is such and such. It has, and you can choose to add those to your reports or not add them to your report. It could be just for you. Your adjustments are down here. You click update, and we're going to actually say, okay, with everything that you've done, we didn't look at refined value and home improvements, but if you had added all that, it's going to add all that up here, and we're going to give you a result. I'm going crazy with the little thing here. So we're going to give you a result. I keep hitting the arrow instead of my little highlighter. So here's your result. It's going to give you a range, and it's going to give you here, but you have a little edit key. You're like, I don't really like that. Or maybe if you're going on a listing presentation and you want to give them a report then, maybe you're going to show this report on your iPad as opposed to actually take it in because you want to talk to them first and then make some adjustments even while you're there, because you can do that. So you can leave that as blank, or you can enter what you think it is, or you can just put it in a range. I know a lot of agents don't like to say, this is what I think the house is worth, especially when you're first going in and you haven't talked to them. So you say, this is what, from the research that I've actually done prior to coming, this is the range I think we're probably in for this area. But I want to talk to you so we can make sure that we have everything in here and adjust that where necessary. And you print that out. You click on reports. You can at any point go to reports, so you have all of these reports available to you. When you look at these, this is the seller's report. When you click on more details, it's going to show you everything. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, seller's report can be 75, 85 pages long. It can be very, very big. Great for your engineers and your accountants and your analytics. They love all that stuff. Someone that's investing or looking at those, they love all those charts and graphs. But you can check the ones that you actually want to use. I myself, I guess probably because I can look in here prior to doing anything on my own, maybe that has something to do with it, but I like pictures and I like to see what it looks like. And I'm even one of these, I don't even care what it is per square foot. The bottom line, just give me the bottom line, let me do it. That's me. But if my ex-husband was it, who is a lawyer, he would want every single one of those pages, and he would, let me tell you, he would read those over and over and over and over again. So it depends on your client what you're going to do. So what you can actually do, you click on more details, and it's going to show you everything. It's going to give you this list, and you uncheck this. When you uncheck those, when you uncheck it, it stays that way. So if there's something that you don't ever use, just leave it unchecked. So you're going to kind of do your basic pages that you're going to use for your CMA. Uncheck those. And then if you've got that engineer and they want everything, you go and you check it, and then you put it back after you're done, go put it back the other way. Yes?
Once you check it from that point forward, that's your default?
Yes. Yep.
One of the questions before we move on, I was familiar with the sliding bar and making the comps better or worse. Is there an actual place in there somewhere?
I'm going to have to go online to show you that, and I will. But yes, there is a place to have that. That was the refined value tab.
This one you didn't refine, I remember.
Yeah, and there's a tab that says refined value. And when you click on that, it'll give you home improvements that have been done or home improvements that you would like to do, and then sliders for the general area. And we'll look at that.
For the subject property, like you have that ability,
Right.
and then the sliders are just up or down.
Right, yeah, the refined value would be refining the value of that particular property, of things that they've done or not done, or where it's sitting, or how it compares, how that one compares to the general market, things like that. That's in that particular one you're doing. I am going to show you, but I have to go live to do that. So it gives you here. Here it's going to give you a picture of what it is. So if you can't remember, click on that little eye, and it's going to show you, oh yeah, I do want that. So you can actually choose which ones you actually want. If you want to see it, what it kind of looks like, it also gives you in a view of what it would be on the report. You're going to scroll down, pick the things that you want. Do you want in photos? Do you want notes? All that good stuff. And then you can personalize it. You can download it and print it. It will save on here for 30 days. After 30 days, it goes away. Although you have the capability on day 29 to rerun it, because usually after 30 days, things have changed anyway. So in your area where it's saved, just say rerun it, and it's going to rerun the whole report for you. So you won't totally know. If you want that particular one, then it's in a PDF. You're going to have to send it to yourself and save it in a file somewhere. So you run your report, and this is kind of what the reports look like. You'll have your information over here. What MLSs do you belong to here? So Palm Beach, beaches, I guess. Beaches, so all three. Okay, I'm just going to give you a little news about them if you didn't know already. In RPR, they share all actives. So when you're out and about, you can see everything. So that's kind of nice to know, whether it's through Fort Lauderdale, whether it's through beaches, or whether it's through Miami. Yes, and that's fairly recent.
Is there a way to remove the current estimated values?
Yes, you just uncheck it. She asked if you could remove the estimated values. There's a place to suppress, and then you can actually move the whole report if you want to. So if you check the checkbox, then it's going to take it away. But at the very bottom, you can actually suppress that so it doesn't show. It says suppress. So and it's at the bottom. So you have your cover page. This is from your profile. Your information here, your home facts comparing information here from the public record, maybe what you did, your extended home facts, your photos. Here's a lot of the charts and graphs. Actually, he just left. He's gone. So your property history here, your sales and financing charts. This is a heat map. So the heat map is going to show you trending. You can't see it right here, but this is on market activity for this particular area. So if there's the house, that's the little gold house right there. And in this particular area, the bluer it is, the activity is higher there. The other way it is, the lighter the blue or white means there's not a whole lot of activity there. So you'll have lots of different heat maps that you can look when you're actually looking at the property online. They're really cool. More charts and graphs, your market activity over here, your listing price per, that's hard to see. I can read it on here better. What's that one say? Listing price versus sales price. Listing price versus sales price. Listing price versus median price. And you have all of these charts and graphs that give you an idea of what this particular area is and available. Your comps map. You can do your comp either side by side, or you can do page by page. And then your recommended pricing strategy, that now adds up on its own. Before it didn't, so you can put it in there so it adds for you. So that's another new thing that just happened. So your seller's report is actually going to give you reviews of the property, reveals local market conditions, compares similar properties side by side, offers a comprehensive comp analysis. It shows adjustments in the home conditions, which we didn't do. I didn't have a slide on that, so I will go live to actually kind of show you where that is. And recommends a pricing strategy. So all of that's there. You have all of that available. Now, it took me a long time. You're going to do that quicker because I'm explaining it, right? So you can go in there and you can actually do a comp analysis fairly quickly. Any questions? Okay. RPR Mobile. I need you to, it's going to take you out of this one this time. Just,
Click on this.
yes, click on that. And then click on that.
Deals aren't just made in the office. They're made at the kitchen table, in a restaurant, on the sidewalk, almost anywhere. And these days, your clients expect instant results. That's why RPR has gone mobile with an app for iOS and Android devices. That's right. RPR Mobile uses the power of your phone or tablet to deliver property data, market trend information, and impressive reports. So when you need to take a deeper dive into property facts, like owner info, tax, mortgage, more information, distress data, flood zones, or your client or customer asks, what's for sale nearby? RPR Mobile has you covered. Oh, and remember RPR's impressive reports? RPR Mobile lets you create and send them to your clients in just seconds, complete with your company branding. Don't risk losing the deal because you have to go back to the office. Make things happen anywhere with RPR Mobile. Download RPR Mobile now for iOS and Android. RPR Mobile, empowering realtors anytime, anyplace.
And now you're going to back. Okay. Quick synopsis on RPR. I love RPR Mobile. I moved again from that place I was telling you to a condo because I travel all the time. I don't want to do any work. I'm single. I'm getting old. I don't want to do it. I want someone else to do it. So I moved to a condo that's all self-contained, right near Sarasota. So I love this. Again, my agent, awesome agent. She's been around forever. Awesome, awesome. But she's older. She's like 93. And she's amazing. I mean, she's so amazing that when she said, I'm going to help you move. And I'm like, no, that's okay. She goes, no, I'm going to help you to at least move that stuff that's in that van that you rented and, get it in the house. No, I want to do it. I'm like, okay. So like I have this big, old, huge thing, right? She goes to take it. I was like, no, Rose, I'll get that. She puts her hand on her hip and she looks at me and she goes, I can do this. I'm like, okay. But she's just getting into technology. So there was a few things every once in a while when technology, she'd like come to me and I'm like, or I would do things and she'd be like, and she's learning it all now. She's so funny. We're good friends now too. So she's like, Chris, look what I did on RPR. She's so cute. But RPR Mobile, I think it's just amazing. When you download it, that's what it's going to look like on your phone. It looks like that. You're going to click on it and it's going to take you to a screen. And I'm not sure whether it takes you to this screen or another, but there's 3 home screens that look like this. So you have this one. This is actually the one I have that comes up. I think it defaults to this one. And to get to each one of these, you just swipe. But I actually like, whoops, go back. I actually like this one, but you have 3. So this one's just going to give you, this finds you. So as long as you have your GPS located, wherever you are, it's finding you. Like right now, here, when I get to it, I have this one on my screen here. That's the one I happen to like. So where we are right now, I have it set to half a mile, and it says we're in Cypress Creek Estates, and it's going to give me the zip code. And there's, within a half a mile, there's 56 properties for sale, 7 new listings, 8 recently sold, and 21 distressed. Now, that's everything. That's also rentals right now. I'm sorry? It's your settings. My settings are different than your settings. You know why? Because my settings, I've filtered some of this and some of it I haven't. So you may have filtered, so you're going to get something different if you've got a filter in there. So it depends on, what those filters are. So, but it's going to show you, including filters that you've set up prior to, because you can set up bedrooms, all that stuff. So, but it's going to give you everything where you are. That's kind of my point, is basically it's just right here. This is where you are. This is going to give you the local market conditions, what's happening around here. There was a gentleman said, I was in the grocery store line, and some person said, so what's happening around here? He says, I pulled out my phone where I'm standing, and he was able to give him kind of what the median price is. This is what's going on here. Or he could even pull up other ones. And then, of course, you have this one, which is where you can put in what you want to look for. You can also set this so that if you only in a certain area, you can set it, which is when I first came here, I forgot I did this. It brought up on that page, it brought up Bonita Springs. And I'm like, I'm not Bonita Springs. Well, I overrode this is when I was in Bonita Springs, and I overrode my location in my profile. And so it always brings me to Bonita Springs. So if that's what you want to look at all the time you're traveling, then you can do that in your profile page. Yes. A lot of different types of things behind on payments, whether it's a short sale, foreclosures. I mean, it's no, we get information from other areas for the distress from the public records. A lot of it, most of it is the public records, and the MLS is where we get that information. So you have all of those. To make one of these your home page, like I said, this one right up there, that little home, you're going to press on it really hard, and then it's going to turn a different color. And then when you go to your phone, that's the one that's going to come up. And if you want to get to the rest of them, you're actually going to go there. If you want to look at these, this is just so easy. You're going to click on, let's say you wanted to see 30 properties for sale. You're going to click on it, and it's going to plot all of these. You'll notice, this is when I was with Rose, and we were looking. She sold my house, and then she was also on the other side of me when I bought mine. And prior to, I went in and saved things that I wanted to look at, and she came and visited me with a stack of paper with directions on each one. And I said, oh, I don't need those. And I went to my phone, the ones I saved, because it has a little GPS map on there once you pull it up. And we just plugged my phone in and clicked it, and it took us right there. I didn't have to look for street numbers. It told me when I had to turn. And she's like, what the heck? And I'm like, I said, yeah, Rose. I mean, this information is good because I am kind of a paper person, but you don't have to write all those directions down. We can just go here and do this. So all those little stars were ones that I had actually done that for when I was looking at these condos in this particular area. So, but it's going to plot all of those. You can look at this on the map, or actually it's going to show you a satellite. Oh no, it is going to give you a list. Or you can look at a list form. So you click on list, and then it'll put them in a list. So you can go back and forth between list and map, depending on what you want. It's, it's easier to see. You can actually click on, go back. You could actually click on one of these right here, and it would give you a little thumbnail down here if you wanted it, if you were looking that way. Or you can actually go to the list. When you want to look at something, you just click on it. It's going to bring it up. It's going to bring you up 4 pictures. This particular PowerPoint doesn't show, but you can actually look at this right here. If you want to see just one picture and make it bigger right in there, you click on this and it'll just put one picture here, and then you swipe. And then if you turn it to the side, then it's going to make it even bigger, and you can swipe through there. You get all your information here, your RVM, your listing details. You can call the agent anytime you want to. Here's a little story. This is a great little story. Do I have a particular time? Okay. I kept asking, how long do I have? How long do I have? And he says, oh, just keep talking. So I'm going to keep talking. So agent, Nicole Nicolai, she is the wife of the VP of our marketing department, but she's a realtor. Her family's been in realty. They're in California. She loves, and she's hysterical. Are any of you going to NAR in November? Okay. If you go to, it's in Orlando. It's not that far away, guys. It's here. You got to go see her. She's hysterical, but I think she's going to do another one on the mobile, but she uses she loves the mobile, but she is so funny. She's great. Well, she got a phone call from a client. She's on her way to a shower. She's on her way, and she looks at her phone. She's like, oh, geez, it's one of my best clients, and we've really been trying to find something. She answers it, and the client says, I'm sitting in front of a home, and I really want to see this one. It's for sale. Can we go see that today? And she's like, okay, she's only like 5 miles from where I am, I think. She goes, let me pull up the property, give me the address. She puts the address in her phone, pulls the property up, realizes it's not too far, calls the agent because it's right here. You don't have to type that number in. You just have to hit it. So if your little fingers are like mine and type, you don't have to do that. Just hit the phone. Was able to get an appointment right then and there. She hung up the phone. She went to the report area, sent her client a mini property report so that she could be looking at this because she still wanted to go to this shower. It was an important shower, the baby shower. So she still wanted to go there, sent her the mini property report, called the client back up, said, okay, I'm on my way and I will be there and with the directions because the map is right there. So you can click on that. I will be there in 5 minutes. So she clicks on that. I've sent you to your cell phone a mini property report. Look it over. I'm on my way to a shower, but that's okay. Let's do this. But this will give you an idea of what's going there. She gets over there. They look through the whole thing. The client ended up buying that. That was the one she ended up buying. So, and then she went back to her shower. So, yes.
What type of file does that report have to find?
What type of what?
File.
It's a PDF. Are you talking about the reports? Yes. Yeah, it gets automatically created, and then when it sends, it's in a PDF. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, everything's in a PDF. So as you can see, you can look at all the descriptions here. You get directions. This is what I used with rows, going from one to another, from another. I pull it up. I go down the directions. It would take us to the next one. We go go to the next one, and it would take us to the next one. Yes.
Just wanted to add some report. This does a lot. I read something about RPR on some place like that. And one gentleman wrote in how he uses many reports when he gets his bill leads or whatever vendor you get leads from. He'll be in the car and he gets leads. If he can't answer the phone and talk to that person, he immediately pulls over and sends them the mini report.
Yeah. Did everybody hear that?
Does he get a lead before you even talk to the person?
Yeah. And that's one of the ones that people, yeah, because it gives them that information. It's going to give the RVM in there also. So you have all of that there. Yes. It depends on the MLS. Now, are you showing time the actual, okay, no, but we're working on it. So.
But any age will probably give you access.
Right, exactly. Yes.
On the property for school boundary section, does it give you the boundaries, that property,
you can search by school boundaries. You can search that way or by geography or by a specific area. Or by school, give me the give me the school districts.
Does he have to map boundary or the map is already set in the
Map's already set up in this. You search by school district. Yep.
It gives you the property, it will give you the boundary.
It'll get yes. Hold on a second. Let's move from here, and I'm going to talk about schools in a few minutes. Okay, that might clear that up. So you actually hear. The other thing is you can find nearby properties for sale and nearby comps. So at any point in time, you're with that client, right? You're going out and you're driving by, and maybe you're in a house. It's like, well, what else is for sale here? What else is there? So you have that. You have nearby comps. What are things selling for? You have all that information. At any time, you can call the agent. You can take notes, create a report, adding a note or a photo. Maybe a particular client. I don't know about you. When I was in Arizona, I looked at so many houses and I didn't know the area, and I couldn't remember. I thought I would, but I didn't. What that house had something I really liked. What was it? Well, you can take a photo, and that's going to be added to the report to that house and save it, and then you can remember for your client. So it's good. They really, really like that. So you can take a photo. You can select it from an album. It's going to take these later on. You can select the ones that you want to add to your report. You're done, and it actually sits here until you want to include your report. Your reports are here. You choose your report type that you actually want to do. Mini property report, which is the one we're talking about that you can do in seconds. Do you want the report sections? Yes, no. You choose which ones you want. You download it or email it. Either way, and it'll actually send that report out. So you have lots. Yes. I'm going to talk about training. Okay. So Some of the new features: HD photos, Google Street View, school searching and reports, Facebook integration. You can also send these to Facebook as far as charts and graphs are concerned. Keyword search. We now have 240,000 that have actually downloaded. I want to give you some scenarios. Open house that we talked about before. I think that's for the pictures back there. Is that what it is? Yeah. So for the open house, now I want to give you some scenarios. The open house, you're going to do two things: mobile, think mobile, and think desktop. Why the desktop? Well, I'm telling you right now, the idea is to engage your client right. So I say, prior to going, print out a mini property report, a neighborhood and/or school report if schools is something that is there, and a market activity report. Print out all of those. Print out 3 of each one, but only put out 1 of each one. Why do I say 3 of each one? Because have you ever known things that you put out that there's one that someone picks it up and walks, it grows legs and walks? So then you have a couple to bring back out in case it walks, unless it grows those legs and walks. So you're going to put all those. So that's basically all you're going to do on the desktop. Then, what do I have here? Then, when you're at the open house, what happens? People come in, they look at things, right? They say, oh, I really like this house. Now, you've saved this report, you've created this report, you have it in your phone, and they'll say, oh, I really like this information. I don't necessarily, maybe it's the neighborhood, but I don't necessarily want this particular house, but can I have this? Well, I'm sorry, this is my only copy, but give me your email address and I'll send it to you right now. And you pull it up and you got it right then and there, and they get a copy of whatever report. Or you have that client that walks in and said, you know, I really, really like this neighborhood, and there's a house down the street for sale, but they're not open today. Do you know anything about that house? Pull it up on your phone, go to the mini property report. Here, I can send you a little mini property report. Now, this is all branded by you. It has your phone number, it has your anything. Here, I'll send you here. Oh, you have some questions? I can answer some of those right now. So you're able to answer and engage at any point in time. The gentleman that I did the little, what I call the dog and pony show with, he was a new agent. This is where his aha moment. He had some other tools. It was a very busy, high-end area that he was in, like $1 million homes. People were coming in and out of the house, the one that he was there, in and out, and he couldn't keep track of all of them. And he said, then at the end of the day, this one couple came in and they were starting to leave. He said, can I help you with anything? She said, well, this doesn't really meet our criteria. We're looking for something else. He says, well, if I could show you right now something that's available, would you sit here and chat with me? And they said, yes. Pulled out his phone because nothing else was working. In his head, he's like, I remember this thing on RPR, pulled it out, immediately put up. House across the street was exactly, it had one of those signs that you couldn't see. So no one was seeing the sign, wasn't open, was able to get them into that house, and they ended up buying that house. And they had investment properties, which he then was able to do all the investment properties with. So being able to answer those questions immediately is great. So you think about that. The whole idea in the open house is being able to give that information to those clients, whether it's that house or anywhere else, and getting their email address and addressing it. Outward buyers, we've talked a little bit, nearby properties for sales, nearby comps, schools and zone reporting, tax information, that's a big one. So you're going through the home, or maybe you end up going through a different one because you've actually been able to get it, and they say, well, what's the tax information? You pull it up, it's all right there. Tax is huge here because you have to homestead. That's another story on my side. I've never had to homestead ever. Any place I ever lived, they don't do homesteading. This is the first time. I didn't homestead the first time I bought. My taxes went up like twice because I hadn't homesteaded. So it was just like, well, that's the one I actually sold. So they actually got stuck with that one. But so FSBO, outward buyers. This is a great one. This is another Nicole, Nick, we call her, story. She's out with clients. She's driving around and they're looking at things, and they're driving by a house and it says for sale by owner. And they're like, oh, this is really, really cute. We really like this. You know, can we get out and kind of look around? And, you know, what do you know about, do you know anything about this home? And she's like, going, FSBO, oh no. So she pulled it up on her phone. Well, and then put a big smile on her face because she says, oh, you want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. This is only a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You wanted room for a pool, and this one has hardly any backyard. This doesn't meet your criteria. So, and it's like, oh, exactly. Oh, too bad. But you know what she did? She saved it. Then she called that person, and she got that as a listing because she had all this information, because she was able to send, I know that you're doing this for sale by owner, but, I'd love to chat with you. I do have some information for you that you can use. No strings. And because that information that she gave was like so good, and I don't know whether they've been sitting or not, she got that person as a client. So don't give up on these FSBOs. They're there for you for a couple different reasons. School things are there also. This is actually me just being able to call, get the details, find nearby comps, so you can always search for those while you're standing there and see other properties, taking photos. This is kind of, I think I meant to take this part out. Mini property. So basically, you're impressing your clients, real-time access to property. You get their dream house, because you are able to answer their questions immediately. We just talked about the FSBO. I jumped ahead. But you can actually look at the information, because you're going to have all the homeowner facts there, both MLS and or public. So you can answer their questions. The estimated values, that's when she went back. She was saying, these are kind of the values here. I think you might have this price too high or price too low. So again, you're able to answer all of that. And then on the prospecting side, again, I told you the one story about the guy marketing. There was another guy that got me in an elevator. I think this is in Florida also. And of course, he saw my badge. And he goes, you know how I use this? He goes, similar to the other guy. He says, I send out through another service. I send people in particular neighborhoods, would you like to have this report, which was the market activity report? I would be glad to sell this to you. And again, I said, how would that work? He says, it's amazing. They really like getting all that detail. And some of them, I have gotten clients right away because they're like, oh, I didn't realize the market was so good. I was looking to sell. He says, and then other ones I stay in contact with them, because if your face is there, one of my realtors lost me because another realtor got me because his face wasn't there all the time. This is a long time ago. And I really liked him, but she was there when I was looking, and he hadn't contacted me in a long time, and we went there. So the whole idea is you need to develop that rapport with those people. And of course, all the feedback, invaluable, great stuff here. These are the top 10 ways. Again, commercial, I just wanted to show you a quick thing on commercial because it is available. It actually has all of these types of things. And it's available to you. It's on the desktop and both. We get the information through CIEs and the MLSs, but you can now search it all on either way. So it gives you all of this information. Now, that Esri Tapestry data is the one that I'm talking about. So if you have a client that really wants to know what the neighborhood is about, you could actually go to the commercial. Anybody, if you're a realtor, you can go there, because it's not like a LoopNet or one of those CoStars. It's not like one of those. And you're going to click. It gives all this information here. I just got a new Apple Watch, and it tells me all these things. It clicks when it does this, like it just dinged on me. So it's sort of kind of, oh, my phone's ringing. You can't hear, but I can. It took me like a half hour to figure out how not to make it ring. It was just like, really? Because I didn't really realize it did that until it did it. I had it on, and my phone was right next to me, and I'm like, oh my God, we're ringing everywhere. So it gives you all of this information, but this tapestry data is amazing. It'll give you this information about an area. It'll give you what the segments or what the type of people are there. It will tell you what they drive. It will tell you what they watch on TV. It tells you. It's like Big Brother. But if you have someone that is really interested to know what is this neighborhood like, go to the commercial and pull out one of these tapestry ones. Basically, you'll go here and enter what's the best retail business. Forget that, but just enter the location of it. And when you run the analysis, and it's going to bring, it'll actually even tell you what there's a lot of and what there isn't a lot of. And you can't see it on here, but on the bottom it says print a report, and it's going to give you this report on the medium household, the median age, the population. That says segmentation, first dominant segment. That says family foundation. There's like 80 different segments. So it'll tell you, like, one of them's Green Acres, one of them Golden something, milk, cookies and milk. Obviously that's kids. So it'll tell you, and then it'll list the main one, and then it'll list 5 of the top ones, so you can actually see what the distribution is. So I think it's a great little tool. So your top segments are family foundations. Actually, there's only 3 here: hometown, urban periphery, family foundations, modest homes, and city strivers. So it has all these different kinds of names, but it's going to give you lifestyle. It'll give you everything that's in that area. So I just want to point that out, because if you've got someone that really wants the ins and outs of an area, print this report out. You'll have all that information. You could actually print that report out like this, or you can print this page out, which is 1 page for each one of the segments, which really goes into detail about what they eat, drink, drive, education. I mean, it's actually kind of scary, but it's interesting. There's workshops on this in our blog, which brings me to training and programs, because we have that everywhere. On our blog, narrpr.com, you all have these little cards. In the back, on the back it says training, how to get there. We have training beyond training beyond training. Tons of training for you. So you can have workshops, you can have video learning, there's live training. This is more of a presentation, and we have ebooks. Workshops or webinars. That means you can register for them and listen to them. We have national ones. We actually have ones that are customized, sometimes for particular areas. You can go to any of them. We don't care whether it's someplace else. If you want to learn a particular thing, it tells a lot of different things. Then you have video learning. This is quick and easy, self-paced, and I'm going to show you one of those. Live training is in person, and ebooks, if you're one of those people that like to read and then do and read and do and read and do, and I'm old, so sometimes I like to do that. We have those also. So your on-demand learning center, here it is. This is your videos. So you'll actually go to training and you'll click on videos, and you can get agent appraiser, but they're all going to be lined up here. You'll click on one of them, and it will bring it up. And below it is going to give you all the different videos in regard to that subject. So this is the guide, the RPR guide to a listing presentation. And you go down here, and then you click on one of these. This says research the subject property, RVM and confidence score, refine the value of a property, which we didn't go over. But they're all, look, the longest one here is 5 minutes. No, 6 minutes. 6 minutes long. So you can do each one of these separately about a specific thing very quickly to remind you or teach you how to do it. We have our online workshops. You can choose any of those. You'll register for them. You just click on one, whichever one that you actually want to do. It's going to ask you to register. It's going to give you the date and time, and then it says save my seat, and you register for that. And then we're going to remind you 1 week before, 1 day before, and 1 hour before. So you're going to get a reminder. So even if you didn't put it on your calendar, it's going to come in your email, and we're going to say, okay, this is coming up in a week. Okay, this is coming up tomorrow. Okay, this is coming up in an hour, or today. You might even get 2 on this day that it's happening. If you don't go, that's okay. But we're going to send you a video saying, sorry you missed it. Here's a little basic video on what was covered in this one. And here are some more that you can sign up for. So you actually get something from there. So you don't get away from us. We're there. The educational ebooks, these are actually downloading them. We have Getting Started. We have Guide to Working with Buyers, the RPR Guide to Geographic Farming, RPR Guide to Successful Listing Presentation, RPR Guide to Successful Open House. Again, you're going to put the information in. Do you currently use it? It's going to tell you, okay, download the book, and you get the book and you print it out, or you leave it in the PDF, or however you want to read it online. I usually download, so you have those available to you. And these are all the different book covers that are available. Here's your online workshops again. Explain or visit. I must have 2 of these. Here's your videos. There's actually one on commercial also. Oh no, this is different. This is my RPR stories. These are quick stories. They're like 2, maybe 3, but usually more like between 1 and 2 minutes long. And it's people telling you their stories about how they've actually used this. And they're really, you'll see Nick on there about the shower and things like that. But they're all over here. You can look at those at any point in time. It'll give you ideas on how to use it. So you're going to be a star, give your clients immediate response, walk your farm area, quick access to FSBOs. Again, it's constantly lead conversion. I think you were talking about the lead conversion. Those of you that have a lead conversion type of thing where you get a phone call, exactly what this gentleman did. What is your name? Vinny. Vinny's like, sends them out a mini property report. You know, they may be asking, here's a mini property report. Let's make an appointment to chat. But they have that, they now have all that information, so it covers them. So it's a great way to do that. Be the neighborhood expert. Oh, I know the one I forgot to tell you. There's a gentleman that goes to HOA meetings, and he's set it up in several different areas. And he'll go to the HOA meeting, and he'll create a market activity report, and he gives a presentation on this is what your area, what's happening here in this area today. And then he takes a list and then sends that market activity report out to people. He doesn't bring them with him. He gets the email address and sets those up. So that was another one that I thought was really clever on actually using that. What's next? To sign up, again, this little card, step by step, NAR, RPR. Guess what you have to have? What do you have to be to use this? A realtor? They have your NERDS number. So just remember that you have to have your NERDS number. You can get that from NAR. You can get it on you have a membership card on your magazine. They may even have it here. I know your association would have it too, whichever one you use. Download the app. We talked about all the training. We have support 24/7, every single day. At 3 o'clock in the morning, you can't sleep, and you decide I'm gonna work on this. Call our help desk. And we hardly ever have any turnover because it's not one of those help desks where we time them. The whole idea is we want you to be able to learn how to do what you have. So if you get stuck, they're there 24/7. We have support links. We have a little help link down on the every single page. And I can go over refined value if you want me to, but I would have to do that live. But basically, that's kind of, you want me to, was that a yes? No. Anybody want to see the refined value? Because do you have any questions before I go there? Because some of you want to see that and some of you don't. Refined value is the home improvement area where you can see how that actually, it's very quick, but I have to go live. Can I go live? Okay. For those of you that don't want to stay, that's fine. I'm actually going to need this. You can't refine the value through the app version. That's one thing that you can't do, is you have to be on the desktop to do the refined value. Not that one. Not that one. Yep. Okay. So I'm just going to pull a property up that I was looking at earlier that I happen to find. So here's your RVM, and you can refine value from here, but you also have a refine value tab. So either way, you can choose this. And what this allows you to find is RVM dependent on home improvement. Now use this when it's you're on a listing presentation, or if you're with a buyer, you know, these are the improvements that we need to do. How much is that? How much return of investment and I'm going to get from that? So you have it both ways. First thing up here is adjusting your basic facts. So you want to make sure that those are there compared to here. Not too many people use this, but your refined value based on any home improvement. So you choose the home improvement. We use Real Magazine. They're all over across the United States. And they bring this down to a zip code level of a general zip code level of what this might cost, what the value would be in that particular area. So if I put in I can't do a pool. He just said do a pool. That was one I can't do. The pool you actually can put in we have an other. You can actually put that in there. And anything that's not in here, there's an other field, another field. You can put the information in, and then we do it on 20 years as far as depreciation. So it's going to be very generalized, but it's not as good as some of these other ones. So I'm going to do, we'll do a mid-range remodeling. So let's say, and it tells you, so if you want to know what a mid-range kind of stands for, and this is very generalized, you can read it right there. Then you're going to say it was completed, let's say it was completed in June of, well, I hit July instead of June. I don't have my glasses on. What can I say? Let's do 2015 so you can see the difference. And a mid-range, what would a mid-range cost around here? Generally? 15. 15 sounds good. So if we spent 15 on this.
You have to put that number. Data source is pulling that.
Correct. Yes, exactly. So on this particular one, right, yeah. So, yeah, this is what you spent on this. When I did and you can put multiple ones in. When I did my place where it had the big range, she had 3 different things and it added up to 30,000. So I put them all in, and it changes the value up here. So the 220, which was the value of that particular one, it actually brought that up to 242, even though she was at 50, because they were very high end and they were brand new. But it didn't give her $30,000. It did take off, what, 8,000 of what she put in there. And that's kind of what this does. So you can do that. You can also do the same thing, is we find the value based on needed improvements. So what if I do this improvement and I'm only going to stay here for 2 years and I make this $30,000 improvement, what am I going to get back on this? So it does it both ways. And then down here is we find the value based on market home conditions. So this is the local market. So the local market, if you pulled up the heat map and you looked at that, what is the local market doing? Is this one equal to everything else that's around there? Yes, the market says everything is kind of level, so you'd have that. Home exterior conditions, home interior, lot size, view, and privacy. So let's say the view is awesome compared to everybody else's, and the lot size is a little bit bigger. And as I do this, it's adding down here, and it's also adding to the value here. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the view is really bad, or has something behind it, and it's going to take away. So that's going to add to that value, which is going to carry over when you're doing your CMA to work with things. Yes? It'll stay there until there's a button right there that says Restore Original Estimate, and it's only for you. Yeah, the only place they're ever going to see that is if you say add this to the report. If it's it'll be in the report. If you choose that page, then it will show it there. You can still use the information here. You can still use that area. No, this is only for you to see. You can't, because this is information that's coming from the MLS, so you can't change any. So this is strictly for you. But you could, until you change that, it's going to stay there. So if you don't ever change that property because maybe it's someone that you work with all the time or you work that area, it's going to stay that way. Every time you look that property up, it's going to have that value on there. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Schools, you were asking about schools. So here's your school search. Here's your for lease there now. So that's arrow. So you can search by geography, or you can search by school district. So if you have a property in there, it's going to show you the schools that are there, and you can click on that. Does that make sense? Yes? So you can do it either way. You can also do that on the map when you get to the map, so you can actually search the schools and points of interest. Any other questions? Okay, I'm done then. Go out there and use it. And if you have any direct questions that someone else had something they wanted me to look.